Okay, we're going live momentarily.
It says live on Facebook. Woo, woo, woo.
Okay, so David, I'm gonna make you the complete host, not the co-host. And so you've got access to all of this, and then once you go mute, I'll run it that way. So if you need to talk to me, just talk to me through the chat.
Okay. And just put up the chat and everything in there too. I don't see.
Oh, that's why, because it takes it's slightly delayed. That's why it's not, that's what it is.
If you ever see me like on a community conversation when I'm doing both, there are times when I'll do like this, and go like this or something, and it's just to try to figure out how long the delay is.
Counting the lag.
Well, because if I have the sound up on both, then it just sounds awful, and that can't work.
Yes.
Right. Ooh, ooh. Oh, I think we're live, guys.
Yeah.
We are live. Yep.
Welcome. Welcome to the Creative Journey Conversation. I'm David Elliott Waterman, aka David Elliott, aka Mother Mahogany Flavor from the House of Flavor. A lot of people don't know that.
Yes.
long resident of Hartford, Black American, Barbadian, bicultural child of two migrant farm workers, a social worker, artist, photographer, a little bit of everything. But I am the curator and organizer of Pride Community Arts. And I welcome everyone to the Creative Journey Conversation. We have our super duper fantastic, bombastic, let me stop, moderator Kimora Harrington of Kimora's Cultural Corner. I'm gonna turn it over to Kimora to introduce our panel. I'm glad everybody is here to join us in this conversation. It's gonna be fantastic. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Hello, beautiful humans, and welcome to the Creative Journey. So tonight we're going to go on a journey, and being the beautiful who we are. We got in here. Well, our plan was to get in here at 5:30 to work through all of the kinks, and we were just late enough that we were late. Okay, it was before 6 o'clock, so we're here. But we started talking about where we want this conversation to go. This is the Creative Journey, and we're talking about what are the possibilities? Where can we go? I know that for me and a whole bunch of artists and creatives and all kinds of amazing human beings, COVID hit and everyone lost all the work. And then a whole bunch of amazingness came out of this. A lot of people figured out new ways to collaborate. Let's see who ends up in here tonight. We don't have to be in Hartford. We don't have to be close to each other in order to do this. So welcome, share this with the folks who are far away. If you're from far away, come in and be a part of the conversation. But I want to start off with, again, where are we? Who are we? What do we do? And bring Toni Morrison into the room. Again, fabulous, amazing Black woman, author, woman all over the place, just all of her. And I want to share a quote that speaks about the times that we are in. And this is precisely the time when artists go to work. There is no time for despair, no place for self-pity, no need for silence, no room for fear. We speak, we write, we do language. That is how civilizations heal. So welcome. For the next hour and a half of our lives, let's think about how we come together, how we use what we have, and how we support those who use what they have to take us where we need to be. I want to introduce first Ms. Jasmine Jones. Jasmine is a photographer and filmmaker currently based in Hartford. I'm gonna read it straight. Her work focuses on life, overlooked moments, and ignored communities. And if you got to come to visit the show last year, if you got to see it virtually this year, her amazing, her black and white work. So she has taken these, my favorite, all the ball. And yes, like you just get to see face and emotion, even in photos where there is no face. The emotion of the face is right there. This woman brings amazing art, brings images to life. Like I am amazing at documenting people with my phone, and one photo tells an amazing story of a whole experience. Yeah, ignored communities. Her goal is to showcase those who should be seen and heard and to use her art as an outlet for them to tell their own stories. She's the creator and publisher of Aspen Magazine, an arts and culture magazine based in Hartford, Connecticut, dedicated to showcasing new and established talent in art, fashion, writing, and music, as well as other independent groups and businesses. Welcome, Jasmine.
Hello.
Those are the words you sent in. Do you want to share something else?
Nah, I think that's good. But this is great. I think that was a great thing. And now, yeah.
That's got you in the room. And next up is Ann Go. Ann Go is, I'm just gonna start off with Ann Go is one of my favorite human beings in the light that this human being brings to everything that they do. So Ann Go is the artist in residence at the KCC, and she was going to be the artist in residence at the KCC before the KCC was an idea, because this woman, if I can't figure out ways to share her light with humanity, then I am not doing what I am here to do. So, welcome, Ann Go. Woman, Ann Go is a proud Hartford native committed to uplifting the community herself through self-care, expression, and safe spaces, and that is true. She's determined to fortify the importance of veracity and altruism. She's a visual and performing artist who creates anything from upcycled garments to spoken word. Before she could even write her name, she was producing art. Her art and music are like breathing. She doesn't stop to think of why she creates, she just innately does it. Inspiration can come through any and everything, from fellow artists to particles of sand. Her musical style reflects exactly that, ranging from hip hop to country. Currently, Ann is engulfed in working with the community as the artist in residence for Camorra's Cultural Corner and as a facilitator for So that's the paper. Who are you, Ann?
All of those things. Like I'm here for my people. I'm here for truth, and that's what I'm about. And the perfect way to do that is through art and just giving space for everybody to be their authentic selves. Seriously. And I thank you for helping me to just further to do that. And thank just everybody here, really, because all of you guys inspire me to continue that, you know? Happy to be here.
Yeah, to the blessing of being able to work and create with people who you love and trust.
Yes, and that inspire me, like, because that's really important to me, to have people who are always just like doing something you ain't even thought about. Like, that's just important. And then you add helping the community with that. Listen, I'm there all day.
We get to be we get to do we beautifully.
Like,
And next up and last but not least is Miss Jasmine Augusto, who you're gonna make me look old, because so the way that my printer decided to work today, it cut you off. So I've got to put on the reading glasses, which again, just kind of signals. But
I got my contacts on, so it's all good. Like,
okay, good. So the squinting is happening. Okay, so Jasmine, oops, wait, let me pull it back up. But Jasmine, when I met you, that was wonderful. So were you officially a member of the Zulu Brats, or were you?
mm-mm.
Okay.
So I was actually part of the Temple of Hip Hop student chapter at Trinity College. And that's where I did the hip hop festival stuff.
And yeah, and so like you're one of those manifestors. You're a conjure woman, and that this is what's just gonna happen. And then, yes, I love that. So Jasmine Augusto is the founder of Sage Seeker Productions, an event experience curation company based in Hartford, Connecticut, that centers Black women, women of color, non-binary folks, and the queer POC community. As shown in your last, oh come now, see, okay. 1 second. I'm really not trying to be old right here, but technology isn't, well, wait, we are in, this is gonna come up really quickly. This is Mercury retrograde right now, isn't it? We still have, yeah, okay.
We've got like 5 planetary retrogrades happening right now.
At the moment?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
serious business right now.
Man, it's been rough the last couple of days. Yeah, again, running up and downstairs as you saw the way the printer decided to work. But it's okay, we got this. Okay, Queer POC, as shown in her latest performance installation series, La Salle Femme, which if you have not been to La Salle Femme, you need to check it out. You need to figure out how to be a part of this. By day, she's the education and community outreach manager of the Hartford History Center at the Hartford Public Library. She's been working with artists, community organizers, healers, students, and elders to organize cultural arts and history. Her story featured focused festivals, events, exhibitions, and programs for more than 15 years. And yeah, the conjure woman who brings us what we need. So
I'm just
that's
happy
the paper.
to be with y'all. Like every one of your souls is gorgeous. I've worked with y'all in different capacities, and like I'm just, you know, we're just this like part of this like beautiful like fabric of amazing people in the state that I'm just honored to continue to get to learn about and know and work with. So thank y'all for having me here tonight.
And I think going to be a theme that we're going to hear throughout the evening, gratitude and love. And as we talk about what it takes to build community, I mean, there are definitely venues and rooms where people are going to speak about economics and community building in a much different fashion, in a much different way. And we're going to discuss economics as well, but we're coming from a heart-centered, human-centered way. So I think I'm definitely speaking for myself here, but my work in working with artists and figuring out ways to continue to support artists throughout COVID is very, very selfish. And it's because I need to have, to not be stagnant, and I need to have a world moving around me, and I need creativity flowing. And so therefore, as part of, just as much as I need food and oxygen, I need creative humans with the ability to be creative. And then when you think about, you know, so the fear that was supposed to overtake all of us that comes with COVID, I mean, we've got to wear masks. You know, so first off, don't go outside at all. You've got to stay inside. You've got to wash everything. You can't touch your loved ones. I mean, I haven't seen my mother since early March. She lives far away. She hasn't come down. But this fear that was supposed to create an entire community. Well, art can give us something to lift in a way to come out from underneath that fear, in a way to, again, imagine. Jasmine, as you were speaking before we got here, a place to start imagining. And all of these wonderful human beings in this community have been able to imagine and find ways to share. So thinking of your own personal journey since February, March has been, we know that we were planning, last year was the first year that we did this. It was wonderful. It was amazing. We were at the Free Center, and we're going to talk about the Free Center a little bit more in a little while. And it will just come up naturally because, again, there's just an amazing community of humans who are working together and building and growing and imagining and manifesting. But we thought that we were going to be at the Free Center. That's one of the things that we were planning on, and that didn't happen. So when March hit, when everything got shut down, what have y'all been doing? I'm muting myself right now. I'm not even going to go 1, 2, 3, but just what y'all been doing?
For me, honestly, I've been breathing, man. Like seriously, like I've been getting really in touch with nature because although like you shouldn't go outside and things of that nature, I just felt like what better air is fresh air. Like, I mean, it's still moving. And then, of course, wear your mask and things like that. But I've been creating a lot, talking to people a lot, like just holding space and just like talking about how you feel because it's important. Like, and you just can't keep things bottled up, and you can't be controlled by the fear. When you talk stuff out, especially with other people, then you get a different perspective. It's like, oh, hey, I didn't think of it that way. And it's like, wow, okay, you're with me. Or maybe you did think about it, but it feels good to have someone just to be there with you to relate, you know? So I just been holding space, creating, writing. I need to get in the studio so I can record what I've been writing. And yeah, trying not to let the negativity just consume because the energy is crazy. We were just talking about earlier, even before, honestly, the pandemic, like even before, like, yeah. Yeah.
Jazz.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I spent a lot of the first half of it alone, just like in my apartment alone, doing things that I could do alone, which is like writing or drawing, that kind of thing, reading. Now I'm going out more and shooting like the protests and everything, but it was weird. It was a weird shift to go from always having my camera and being out and shooting and talking to people to, I don't know, trying to find another way to get that stuff out. Yes.
Yeah.
And you've been, and maybe Kamora will probably get into this more too. I'm sure we're all gonna get into this more, but like, you've also found a way to like stay connected and document what's happening with the movement outdoors and the visibility of the movement, which I think is like huge, right? Because this is amidst this period of us fearing, you know, us like which is like we live there's so many of us that live in so much fear already pre-COVID. Then you add on this other layer, then it's like, you know, an explosion of more visible Black deaths that could have been uncles, cousins, sisters, aunties, ourselves. And then we're like, you know, which is like a replaying thing. And I know we're gonna kind of get into this, but Jazz, I just want to commend you too for being one of the documenters and being able to share the narrative, because there's so much that's happening in terms of white people and media shaping what the narrative is. And like, we have to shape our own, right?
Yeah, that's why I focus so much on like documentation and archiving, because it's important. We lose our history so easily. So it's like we have to document as much as we can.
Yes, we have to preserve it.
And we are. And so Jasmine, you just did what you did, and it was beautiful, because I was going to, so the one thing that I was going to get to, so David has shared me, so I will get to all of the stuff that was going to get to the other thing, right?
Yeah, Kimora, I'm sorry, let me answer your—
No, don't, please do not, no, don't take that, no. Girl, you better just keep, again, did I say the alchemist? Did I say the conjure woman?
Authentic self.
I wanted Jazz to say more. I was like, Jazz, come on.
Yeah, exactly. But because Jazz has been documenting this, and David shared, you know, so you can tell her work, and like her work, the faces of the folks at the protests look so much like, it looks so what's happening in the world. Like there's a look, there's a way that you just see Jasmine in there. And so yeah, that conversation, and then it got to, and Jasmine is working at the Hartford History Center. So she gets to archive and decide which photos tell the story. And in your position, so in your official capacity, which is you're working for the man and, you know, doing that 9 to 5, you really get to tell the story. We speak of this history and this her story. And so what is the responsibility? Like,
okay,
what is the responsibility you feel there?
So I'll go into this, and then I want to also answer the original question with the COVID piece and Sage Seeker, because there's like so much I want to say about that. But since we're talking on documentation, a couple things. So the Hartford History Center, as part of the Hartford Public Library, will soon be like unleashing this, essentially like a COVID-19 collection, where it's like, you know, we just want we want to hear how people's lives have changed during this period of time, through photographs, memes, video, screenshots, storytelling, paintings, whatever that's going to look like. But it's a funny thing because we have to hold back. There's a funny story behind there. But anyway, but in the meantime, the Hartford History Center, the YOUmedia Teen Center, and general programming that does a lot of like creative aging programming for adults 55 plus. We're all working together actually, and Jasmine is going to be one of the instructors. Jasmine is going to be a part of this summer program where elders and teens are like an intergenerational program that has workshops in documentary photography, mural creation, storytelling, music, dance, poetry. All Hartford artists that are going to be facilitating these workshops. They're virtual workshops, but there's also opportunities to do some outdoor type things, especially with the mural creations that are going to be, one's going to be in the North End, one's going to be in the South End. And all of these workshops are actually celebrating the lives of Black and Latinx and Indigenous Hartford change makers specifically. So we're curating a whole grouping of folks that's going to be like, it's like an easily accessible, essentially like online exhibit where you can see photographs, get documents, you know, have information about all these people. And then, you know, the muralists are going to actually create murals celebrating those folks. They're going to choose who they want to do, and it not just be portraiture, but actually visualizing how they contributed to Hartford's history and how they contributed to the neighborhoods. Because often you see a mural and you're like, but who is that person though? You know, like I really want to know who is that person. And so we wanted to not just be like, right now is a time for public history. Like,
Yes.
if people are outside, they're going to bodegas, corner store, grocery stores, parks, wherever they're going, their buildings, outside their buildings. So like the art has to be outdoors as well as virtual, because there's so many folks. I think we have like 40% of our community that doesn't have Wi-Fi right now, right? And that is missing so much connection to all this virtual existence that we're in. And so like we still have to find ways to be physical. And I think a lot of this movement is also like, we need to still be with each other. Like our way to be with each other is these protests. Well, fuck it, we gonna be out here. Like, you know, and it kind of sparked this energy too about like being with each other. I don't want to like dominate this conversation, but I did want to share with you guys about that, because Jasmine is going to be part of that, and that is something that we're rolling out by the end of this week. So more information is coming out about, I guess, to me, the library's role in sharing resources, collecting stories, preserving information, valuing lived experiences as part of our history instead of just what was written by white men 300, 200, 150 years ago. And so that's really critical. I'll come back to the Sage Seeker stuff, but I don't want to like talk for an endless amount of time right now.
I'm thinking like, I love that. And I wrote down the idea of public history. I love that as a way to just public art. No, that this is public history. This needs to be here in all of these wonderful ways. And we just, so today the KCC, we just got an email saying that we just got, oh, I'm sorry, there goes,
Hartford.
It's Hartford. It'll be on your street soon. It's on its way. It'll get there. But we just got the email from the city, from Janice Castle, saying that we got the Love Your Block grant. So that's for the labyrinth that's going to go in. We got the money, right? And so I would love to figure out how to get human beings on our labyrinth, walking it and thinking and contemplating these beautiful. In my mind, I'm like thinking about people just being on walks through neighborhoods where they get to see whatever these murals look like, and then just walk and think and get to those wonderful places. So folks have gone inside, they've been thinking, they've been manifesting, they've been creating. I do a lot of work to get online, and March's attempts at being online and doing work and programming online looks much different than it does today. And so we just picked up this amazing, we've just this opportunity to work with UConn and Afro Yaki, where we're going to be doing this whole program around healing through the arts, through activism, there's just some mental health care. It's just going to be amazing. And it can happen online. So I will say that the first week in March, I did not believe that all of this wonderful connection, human work could be translated online, and a lot of it can. So how are people here actually translating these because like, the Sala Femme is so like you touch and smell people. You're there with it's all of this. So Jasmine, how has it translated, and what are the gifts and benefits that you didn't know were going to be there once you translated it online?
Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. I wanted to like really share, but I will talk about this because, okay, so I was extremely anxious. I was extremely nervous about bringing La Sala Femme to the virtual world, because of all of that, because there's so much physicality that happens. Collaborations between artists that have never met each other a lot of times. Even the documentation part around like getting these incredible images of people coming together. But so there are just so many technical logistics that I was like freaking out about. On top of that, I didn't know if we were going to be able to do it because of funding. Long Wharf Theater had done it as like a commissioned thing. So they gave essentially a grant out for us to be able to produce the show. And so at first I was like, oh, they're about to close their doors. They don't know what they're doing as an institution. And they actually went ahead and were like, nah, we are keeping this. Like, this is a priority. We said we were going to do it, and we're going to partner with you to make this happen. And, sometimes institutions, especially historically white institutions, they want to like really like control what you're doing with that money and the reporting requirements and all these different things. And they were like, nah, we're a partner. This is yours. Do your thing so that you don't even have to worry about the fundraising aspect of it. And that's something, we can circle back to in terms of like what it means for, historically white institutions to partner with Black and brown artists, Black and brown queer artists, however, because sometimes they want to do it and like, say we're working with the community, it's like, what does that really look like? Like, what does that really mean to do that? So anyway,
this is the script, and this is what the show is going to be, and you're going to end on this day, and there's going to be a community building this acts, and go get the community to do this.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we got the money, bet. So then we're like, okay, how are we going to do this technically? And I had never done the Zoom thing. I was just trying to figure out all of the, like, I want it to look like it's just two people on the screen with a live musician and a choreographer side by side. I want to be able to still have libation. I want to still be able to have a DJ set and for people to dance. I want there to still be like all this energy around this. We couldn't do the drinks we usually do. We couldn't do, the food that we usually offer, so there were definitely components that weren't fully there, but there was some beautiful energy that was happening because we were really doing La Sala. We were in our living rooms. We were in our intimate spaces, our studio spaces. We were coming very raw into this moment. And like, for me, I was sharing things about this moment that was much more about my personal story than I have ever done really before in a La Sala Femme. And had connected with like a great grandmother and a great grandmother I had never met, but had connected with them spiritually and like brought them into the space. So there was just all this energy, and I just trusted it. And I think like a lot of the production work and a lot of the work that we do is like, we have to do it. It's kind of like the quote, the Toni Morrison, it's like, now is the time, and I think there's a history of risk takers, that's there, that we're like a part of this legacy of risk takers and creators. I just want to say, like, it was beautiful. It was dope. We had people that had attended that had never attended before because of even being able to get there physically, coming to an evening performance, getting there via bus, Uber, car, bike, whatever. But we have people in other cities also being able to tune in. And I think it was this moment of like, oh, we're connected to this greater world. We're connected to this greater community. And Connecticut is fucking phenomenal in terms of our artistry. And we should be seen in a much broader sense. I know I was gonna go somewhere else with this, but I'm not sure.
I'm gonna say like a much broader sense and a much more serious sense. Like I don't think that Connecticut values her artists like she should. So that I want to talk, Jasmine, a little bit about your magazine, which is an amazing magazine that you show someone a copy and they're like, oh, where's this from? Hartford. And it's like you just see it happen. Oh, this is from Hartford? And it's just so how have you noticed that with the magazine? Does it get that place where it's, oh, this is a Hartford thing?
Yeah, it's frustrating because even getting artists to be involved is kind of hard sometimes too, because I feel like some of the artists even here, they kind of look down on Connecticut too, and they reach for other magazines or other places. Or Stacey is from Connecticut, they're like, I don't need to be in that. I want to be in something bigger. So you get it from the people, the artists sometimes, and then you also get it from the outside people who are like, oh, it's just a Hartford magazine or just a Connecticut magazine. So they're not as interested in it, you know, just because it's not from New York or LA or, you know, a big place.
What have you been working on with the magazine?
I'm working on the next issue. Yeah, I have submissions closed next week. I had to skip one because my printing place closed, but we're back on it now. So just trying to get people, if anybody has any art or work related to Black, because that's the theme, send it in.
And David will put, or
Mhm.
David will share your information and how folks can get in touch with you so that they can figure out how to get their hands on the magazine and get their artwork into the magazine.
Yeah, exactly.
And so Anne,
Mhm.
website,
I'm committed.
videos, talk to me. What you been doing? What you been creating? How have you
Man.
moved stuff virtually?
Honestly, you can ship things anyway, and just we do the whole we'll meet after thing. I've been doing that lately. But it hasn't been too bad with art because you can always ship, and so that's cool. And that was always a thing before this. Um, just creatively, like the stuff that I'm working on. But again, I've been doing especially artwork depicting my people literally just being joyous or just being like I had started a whole a Becoming One series, and it was featuring just black and brown men just being one with their djembe, and like that moment where you're just like it's just you and the music and y'all are just like mash, like, or a brown boy reading a book, because yeah, why can't we like have that? I'm just big on representation right now. Like, I should be doing a mural on Barber Street really soon. I'm excited about that. And just, yeah, it's crazy how, like, I feel like I was already doing the artwork that's super needed now. I mean, it was always needed, to be honest. Like, let's be real. But right now, it's like, we can't go back to, like, quietness. Like, no, we need representation. We need it now. We need systematic oppressive systems to stop now. Like, and the only way we could do that is what we're doing right now. So yeah, I'm just excited about the music, especially this particular song. It's called "Let There Be Light." Like, I don't even know. It's like, who's this? Is this me? I don't know who this person is. So yeah,
When are we
it's a
gonna be able to
lot
hear
of
Let There Be
turmoil,
Light?
but and then soon. I should be going to the studio probably next week, and that should be out. I'll say July, hands down, July.
Yeah. That's
And where
But
do
you
you,
have snippets, in between time.
and where do
There
you
might
go
be.
to the studio?
So like my main home studio is Trap Beat. Shout out to Trap. Anybody looking to record, like he's just super dope, super professional, and also CPR with Young D. Like, yeah, those are my main guys right there. Like, they get you right, have you sounding good. Yeah, you forget you from Connecticut.
And again,
Just
it's
kidding.
that Connecticut
Just
thing.
kidding.
We create so many artists, creatives, just so much comes from the state. And then Jagged Edge, we leave the state and try to pretend like we're from somewhere else. But
Why though? Why? And I hated that about Jagged Edge. It's like, dude, he grew up with my brother. Stop it. Like,
you know, and then you sound like that person,
like,
like Jagged Edge is from right here. No, they lived right here. No, there, right, this,
like
right here.
went to school there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's the Arts Collective Summer Program. Here we are. But so your album is or the song is all, you're getting ready to get back into the studio, and we're all figuring out how we can create and how we can do stuff. I'm right now trying to figure out how I can pay artists and how we can, and I'm really trying to find the right word, because pay artists is still the word. And support artists still has that paternalistic, icky thing. So I don't even really like to say support artists. Give artists what they're due is a lot of words, but figure out how to make sure that the people who are
Maybe sustain.
getting what they need in order to do what they need to do. And the beginning, I mean, honestly, Faith, I will say that Faith, up until early June, money wasn't happening. And, you know, there's some artist groups and small pockets of this here and that there, but nothing was really looking like it was gonna line up. And then folks started really figuring out how to support each other. And so while there's some other stuff happening here, I'm really watching how stuff is being shifted around. So with us, with the KCC, we've got the Patreon giving program, and we pull in, like, if you just go check out Patreon, we're pulling in a good amount there with a whole lot of people who only give $3 a month, right? So check that out. It's wonderful. So we can actually give people money, and it feels so good. So I was talking to one of our artists, like, oh, so this just came through. So the Love Your Black grant, I was like, oh, this came through. So I can pay you a real wage for this thing, and I can pay you for this. So that's starting to work out in some ways. But what is funding looking like right now? Like, we're an LLC, we're not a nonprofit, but what is funding looking like, and what interesting new creative ways are people thinking about paying for what they're doing?
Honestly, I need to get me a Patreon. For
Yo,
individuals.
we could discuss that, but it may have already been discussed a few times.
I'm getting it together, Kimora. You know that tech stuff. I'm just like, it's like math.
Yeah, no, it's awful, but really, so that speaks to the idea of like trying to do this collective thing. And again, with artists, okay, so back in a previous lifetime, I was married to a man, and he was this amazing musician who just like, that was what he did. And like when people would come in contact with him and be like, oh my God, that human's insane, I would play some of his music, which again, beautiful music where you need to be just beautiful and be like, okay, do you hear this? Do you really expect the human being who created this to know how to balance a checkbook? To like you are just asking far too much. And so no, you should not have to set up your own Patreon. So we got to get your Patreon set up. But yeah, okay, done talking now.
So I'm just curious, because I'm curious about what people are doing right now to sustain their bills, their income, their income, whatever it is. Because for me, like, I have my day job, and my day job is like, it's something that I'm able to do stuff creatively in, but it's not like the end all be all for me. Like, I really want to build Safe Seeker Productions. It's already an LLC, but for me, I'm looking for it to take off, right? And to be something that gets contracts with major institutions in the state, that puts on, taps into a touring stream, and can get a lot of Connecticut artists outside of the state as well to tap into our larger, all these peoples and these communities that love us and want us and don't even know that we fully exist. I think there is that space for all of that. And I feel like these connections are further developing because we're all home, or all, kind of looking at like, well, who do we want to follow in this city? Who should we be tapping into who aligns with my spirit, my energy, the kinds of music and dance and visual arts and movement work that is aligned with my values, and those kinds of things. So for me, that's definitely something I want to build. But like at the moment, it's like, okay, I have to have this. I still have to dedicate so much of my energy and time to the day job. And so Jazz, like, I'm wondering for you too, like, and Ant, like, what are the ways that you're able to kind of survive right now? And then like, what is your kind of broader vision and thing? Because like, I want to talk about co-owning property. I want to talk about,
Yes.
I want to talk about all of us having healthcare, access to healthcare, even within being, in the gig economy or LLC owners or whatever. There's already mutual aid support, there's community gardens, there's like thinking about all the different ways in which we can live and thrive communally and and support each other, but also like know that we have adequate healthcare and like solid income and thriving things and with places to live and venues that we own and all this shit. So like Jazz,
Definitely.
I know you got the magazine, you got, you know, stuff that you're doing, but you also have like a day type shit, right?
Yeah, I do. Unfortunately, I'm in the same boat. I'm like trying to figure out how I can weasel out of that and go into, you know, photography, the magazine, videography, filmmaking, all of that. But it's like, I feel like I have to dedicate so much of my time and energy to that job. And then also pursuing that job as, you know, like I need something solid. I can't just rely on the art. Not right now, anyway. I don't have bills to pay. So it's like a balance and it's frustrating.
So
Yeah.
I wonder, because I think a lot of us are a lot of times, like as much as we have like our, you know, our little communities of people that, you know, we break bread with and build with and collab with and stuff like that, we might not necessarily, like we still operate very individualistic. Like even if we can't help, like we're kind of, you know what I mean, we're conditioned into this space where we're like, oh, like, and a lot of times we aren't thinking or talking fully about like, okay, like somebody was talking about like, well, why not have, I saw like a comment on the thing, you know, why not have an organization that helps with the background part of the artist experience? So maybe what they're talking about is like, who are the people in our community that can have the connections with institutions for gigs, can like know, like can help us with putting our EPKs together, you know what I mean? Like supporting our brand development. You know, how do we operate a business? How do we, you know, like a lot of
this is coming to that important place of supporting and understanding that there's a whole backstory that's necessary in order to support this. And so Shanique over at Planned Parenthood, she's putting together a panel with a bunch of amazing Black women, queer women, all just Shanique's doing the daggone. Again, can we just feel our community for a minute? We've got some great humans doing some great stuff. Just, yeah.
Yes.
And so she put out a call saying, hey, we need folks who can, you know, we've got these folks in our community who are doing amazing work, and who can come and take their photos, and who can come and do their makeup, and who can come and do these things, because this is the stuff that needs to happen. And right now I think like so many people will say that the Gig Academy will, if I give it like 8 solid years, you've got folks who just jumped in and they're doing, right? And so we've gotten to the point where the grind is important, but can we just take this a little bit more seriously? And can we now demand that other people, like you see Show and Prove, you've got all of these amazing folks, these like larger world outside of some artists who are figuring it out on their own. You don't have a lot of self-made entrepreneurs, and a lot of like, you don't get a lot of folks who get to go get their MFA because their family is, you know, you've got to have a little bit of some kind of privilege to get to that point. And again, that gets to the place of needing to make sure that our artistic class is taken care of, that funding is coming from a place. But as we talked a little bit about where that funding is coming from and where it's not coming from. So who do you think should be funding a whole lot of this? Because I will say earlier today, you know, in this manifesting place, I'm like, so what do you need? Like, dude, I need a building on Albany Avenue. That's what I need. And the question was like, how are you going to get that? Someone needs to give it to me. And Shock was like, I can't get it. Like, no, I don't think you understand what I do. Because if you know what I did, you would understand that someone needs to give me a building. Like, no, I don't think you understand. If you knew what Ann did, you would make sure that she wouldn't have to worry about a paycheck. So like Jasmine, having to do a 9 to 5 away from all the amazingness that you could be doing. Again, selfish me, what are we not getting? As you've got to, and so all 3 of you, think about that for a minute. When you're thinking about the minutia pieces that have to go into getting what you do out there in the world, Jasmine, thinking about creating all the ways that LaSalle FM can get out there, and thinking about figuring out how to book students, how to build that daggone Patreon and website. What is that stuff that gets in the way of getting to the world?
Oh man, for me, it's just running and running and running, and honestly, forgetting about myself. Like legit, like today, case in point, like I went from a birthday party to painting live for work to doing this right here. Like, and don't get me wrong, like I love these things, but then sometimes I forget about myself. So that's my biggest thing is being like, oh, Anne's live. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and has the demand for Anne, like it appears to me as if the demand has grown in the last month or so. But are you finding more demands on your time?
Yeah. And then like right now my family just came and it's like I love like but it's like another thing. It's like, oh, I gotta figure it like work and how can I see you? But I gotta show up for my community and I'm a big, I don't really want to let people down and all this type of stuff. And like you think about it after, it's like, oh, I could have just went there, but then you also need that nap though, like, because if you can't be 100, then yeah. So I'm still figuring out that balance, like every day, every day, every day. But I'm gonna figure it out. For real.
You forget to sleep, I forget to eat. Someday a balance is gonna happen.
But they're so imperative. Come on, they're so imperative.
Yeah, we can put them off for a few days.
Yeah, it's fine. We're like bionic.
But yeah.
Yeah. Balance.
So again, going back, we talked a little bit about the Free Center. And I know the Sala Femme happened at the Free Center as well. So we talked a little bit about doing the art show there last year. So I was there. So what are some of the other programs that have been at the Free Center? Because I know that we've been in multiple things there.
Afro Eats as well held some of their live shows.
Can you talk a little bit about Afro Eats? Because that I didn't hear about it until afterwards. And I was just like, oh my God, really? This happened?
It was so cool. Seriously.
Jazz, have you been there too?
Yeah.
Have you gone, or have you
Yeah.
tuned in? Because now they're actually right now they're doing a live on Instagram. So they went straight to like Instagram live. Like they were like, we're gonna pivot and we're gonna do Instagram live with it.
You got Zoe and Richard over there. They were just like, got it. It was like,
no. So Afro Eats is damn. See, okay, Claudine is the main host, but who are the organizers? Manny?
Getty and
Getty?
and Massum, yes. And I think that's maybe it. Yeah, Manny too. And it's dope. It's dope. They bring basically like local-ish chefs, and then they bring cool people like so my cousin cooked, and then Posh was like the person eating it. Like, how dope was that? And then you learn about new culture, new chefs that you haven't heard of, and just it's a cool live food tasting event. I love it. Yeah.
I don't know how cool it is that Posh was the one eating, but they're probably we got no clue who Posh is. So who is Posh and what does Posh do?
Oh, Posh, aka Mr. Chris Presley, dude, just the renegade social worker. Need I say any more? Like, if you want some grounding, some like energy ritual work, shout out to my man. And he has an MSW and all that good stuff, so he's certified.
It works. He's certified, bona fide, all of it. So, yeah, so the Free Center has hosted a whole bunch of amazing things, and one of the reasons why that works is because they're free, and they again are operating on the same model of understanding that we have so much amazing talent and and just a great community that wants to get together and gather and spend time and space with each other, right? That they figured out. And so Richard Holland and Zoe Chatfield have created this organization that now has a second site has it opened in Middletown? Does anyone have any information? Oh.
No,
I think
not yet.
Oh, they haven't. Okay.
They have.
Oh, I don't know.
They've got an Instagram page already, though. They've already Instagram page.
Oh, David just said July. They're opening in July.
Oh yes.
Nice.
That's right around the corner.
And that's that beautiful place of, so there's the Hartford web, and then there's the whole Connecticut web. And Middletown has this wonderful art scene. What's the name of the place across the place across the street from where It's Only Natural used to be? But that small performance venue, they've done a million poetry nights there.
You're talking about in Hartford?
No, in
Oh, Middletown. Buttonwood Tree.
The Buttonwood, yeah, the Buttonwood Tree. That place is out there. And so this is just kind of beautifully connects, that Middletown community along with the Hartford community. And so we've got the Free Center everywhere. And Middletown is not a community like Hartford, but it's another community where you've got all of these disparities happening. And to have a free center where everyone can just get together and vibe and share really, really is an important part of making community and using the arts effectively to build and create community.
So with Free Center, I mean, they're able to do that because their Collab, right, is the company, is the LLC, is the business that operates out of that space. But then they acquired that space because it used to be a library branch. And so I think there is that, like, thinking about how a space can operate freely, or how a physical space can operate freely. It's like, okay, well, they're able to make operate as a business, so they don't actually, they can cover all the costs, so they can provide this space. And thinking about Kimora, like how you were, operating your spaces and stuff like that. I mean, you still were a hustle and grind consultant, right?
Yeah, that's what pays for most of it. Yeah.
So like that question about like, well, what about these institutions with endowments? These institutions that don't have to really be concerned. I mean, maybe. I mean, there are organizations that are concerned with paying the bills, paying the rent and stuff like that. But some of these buildings have been owned by these people for centuries. So what is then the responsibility of these spaces to redistribute space to people that do not have access to that type of generational wealth and property ownership?
And
especially when space and money those are like such big issues for artists, finding space and having the money to get things done, to get a space.
Absolutely.
the legwork that goes into that is just a whole lot of legwork. And that was about where we got, which was just, this is, right now, the virtual thing is working out because the legwork of just looking for and finding and trying to create that in a way where, like, how do we know we can keep it? How are we going to be sustainable in it? It's just a lot of work, important work. And that's how I got to the place of, no, someone just needs to give me a building. So in Philadelphia, there's the Attic. And if anyone knows the Attic is a queer youth program that is amazing and fierce and does everything that they're supposed to do. And they just, like, when I was working with some kids and they wanted to put on a drag show, I was like, we're going to go check out the Attic and you're going to see what they do. And if you think you can do what they do, then we can do it. But they're just all encompassing, beautiful, holistic work everywhere. But they got that space. They'd been renting crappy office space like we do, so because you can get the space in the office building, which means you got to be really quiet when you get up. Like they had really horrible space. But then there's a rumor, because everyone's got ideas on who it was, but someone valued what their work was and gave them a brownstone. So one of those big, pretty Philadelphia brownstones, they gave them that, paid for taxes forever. And that's what they're working out of. And it's that place of, if this is someone who, and like it had been a building, a house that they'd owned for a while. And that's that place of really tapping into that generational wealth. And no, I'm not asking for a handout. I'm asking for what makes sense. And that's what it is. Like this is here. How do we redistribute it? How do we get it to the places where it belongs?
Reparations.
Reparations are necessary. And so that's I'm on the reparations kick for trying to figure out ways to do this. So this is a fun place. Imagination, human beings. Where do we imagine ourselves going? How do we envision ourselves getting there?
Collectively. honestly. Like to touch upon what Jasmine was talking about earlier about just owning property, having space together, farms together. I was meeting with Andre yesterday and on a farm and just talking about making like a secret road to this other farm and just like just like being just self-sustained seriously, like because it begins with feeding ourselves and all of that good stuff. So yeah, I feel like the more I work with my hands, the more I'll be all right, and the more I do it with people next to me, the more I'll be all right. For real.
I'm looking at you, Jazz, because
I can feel it. I don't know. I like
No
that
pressure.
collectively. I think that's important. That's definitely um, yeah. I don't have the fine details, but I think you can't. So many people want to do everything on their own, and you can't. Like you need people to help you or just be there with you. You know, you can't work alone. So I think collectively is a good idea. And that's where my base is. That's why I work with so many people. That's why my art involves other people like constantly, whether it's me taking their picture or like featuring them or whatever. I think that's important. Yeah, I'm rambling.
Jazz, if you like close your eyes, right, and like you like dream up like what like a beautiful like world could look like you wake up and it's like the morning time, like what do you see around you? Like what does your day look like?
For me personally, just for me personally,
Yeah.
I'm trying to wake up and just take pictures all day, just make movies all day, just no responsibilities beyond that. That would be great. That's me. Only
That'll
thing.
be beautiful.
And would it be, do you see different types of environments, or would it be like, because I know you've traveled too. Like, I mean, you've been to like balls in like Europe and all sorts of stuff. So like, what, do you see yourself as like a nomadic documenter, or like, more stationary, or maybe you live in multiple places? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like home base is Hartford, so I don't see myself leaving here. I could travel. I do like to travel, but I like to have one spot that's like home and it's comfortable. And Hartford has always felt like home to me, so I always come back here. Even when I moved with my mom when I was younger, I came right back here as soon as I moved out the house because I wanted to be in Hartford. So I don't know. I can't see other places beyond trips or like vacations or work type thing.
So
Yeah.
I love that. I've always felt like Hartford is still home, no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
How about you, Anne?
Yeah, man. I was literally born and raised on Sterling Street. Like, I feel like how you guys feel. Like, I'll travel, I'll go away. I might even go away for a couple years, but like, I will always like have a home in Hartford. Like, I can't imagine like being away too long, cause I miss it. Like, I miss it.
Yeah, we're doing this collaboration with the KCC and the Free Center and then Futuro Media to do this Hartford Podcast Lab. And so that's going to be just another beautiful way when I think we've got 9 folks who are going to be creating their own podcasts and then getting them out in Futuro. Like they've got given them all the hardware. And so the fun place is that Zoe and I, so Zoe Chatfield and Kimora Harrington, get to be like the Hartford instructors, and our job is really just training everyone in how to deal with Hartford. And it was a lot of fun when the person who they hired to be the instructor came in and were like, no, you need to understand Hartford is amazing. And like, like we've got some great stories and you've got to deal with our stories. And after he had his first meeting with the Hartford folks, he got exactly that we were saying, like, no, we are fiercely protective of our city. We love this place. We love our community. And he was struck by this amazing love that all of these people in this room had for these, what are we, 18 or 19 square miles? 18.3 or something like that.
I think it's like 18 something, 17.
Something like that. But this is for so many of us, it's home base. Like we might fly away for a minute, but this and so what is it? I've got my ideas, but what is it about this space that holds you so dearly?
My people, the air, like it's something about like just being at Elizabeth Park or Bushnell, just watching the sunset and rise, like being in the skate park, just anywhere, walking down the Ave, like I, I just love it. I love it. Like, and I mean, I know I'm super biased again, but I can't explain this certain like vibe and just like drive that Hartford has. Like, even though many people don't see it and they'll try to downplay it, they feel it though. Like, you can't deny it. And we like legit on the cusp of something grand. Like, well, Ben, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's community. I think that's a big aspect of it, community and like connection to the people and the places here.
It's so funny. I was like talking to this guy in Detroit, and he was like, and he was like, we were like linking in Brooklyn or whatever, and like we're such a Caribbean city too, like right, like we're like this beautiful mix of all of these like Black and brown cultures, or like cultures of the African diaspora, but we're really Jamaican, we're really Puerto Rican, we're really, we're all these things, and people have come up from the South, and now we have all these like new immigrants and stuff. There's so much, like the food is bomb, the music is bomb, like the ways that we like create, you know what I mean? Like my neighbors are just literally on the front, like of the building. Like there's not even really a yard, like, you know what I'm saying? But it's just like, we're gonna make the grill right there. Like we're gonna just take up space wherever we can. And like, I feel at home because of the sounds and the smells that I hear on a daily basis. And like this cat from Detroit was just like, yeah, I didn't understand like Caribbean culture till I came to Brooklyn. I was like, whoa, like I never imagined not growing up with that.
Wow.
And I think so,
those Hartford gifts that you don't realize you got. Like this morning I was on a conference call with someone, and the Roosters a couple doors down, like they were doing their thing, and I don't hear them anymore because that's what they do in the morning. And it was like, so I thought you lived in Hartford. It's like, oh, I do. It's like, I live, and it was just, oh yeah, no, exactly like you just said. Like I grew up understanding and knowing, everyone's a little bit white, a little bit Black, a little bit Puerto Rican, a little bit, because everyone just kind of, that was just what you got. So how do you learn about other people's cultures? Because they live next door to you. Like it's an amazing gift that we have here.
Yeah. We're like a little island. Like we're kind of like a little island in
little
island. Like it doesn't even make sense, but it's like,
but it's so cool. Like it's good. Like when I go to Charlotte to visit my sister, it's so weird to me. It's like I can't even get a decent beef patty. Like I don't have time for stuff like that. Like,
Okay, but I want to go back to something that Anne said earlier, and you said that you feel like we're on the cusp of something grand.
Yes.
And we are Hartford, Connecticut here. And many people who don't live within our beautiful borders don't see that. So what are these grand things that we see and feel? And like just off of the corner of your eye, but what does it look like? What does it feel like? What are these grand things that you feel are coming?
It looks like more artists being recognized, like my boy Corey Payne. It looks like just no more downplaying just of talent. Like why should talent be like super correlated with demographic all the time? Like, like it's as if just because I didn't know I used the Conti crayon, does that mean my art wasn't beautiful? It's like that type of mentality, but I feel like it's shedding, and just people as a whole just getting real firm in who they are here. That's how I feel personally, and what I see. Like I'm super proud of people. Like, well, look at you growing, all those flowers just sprouting, blossoming. Like, Yeah, and it's infecting the whole state, and even bigger than the state. Seriously. So yeah.
I want Jazz to talk. So I'm like giving.
Like pregnant pause.
I just like I see Lucy in the comments on Facebook, saying like we just got to defund the police and we'd be set, like so there's like still, there's still the realities of the constraint, like what you're talking about, like our artistry, our quality of artistry having to correlate with what degrees you have, with a white institution saying that you're of value, right? Like all these things, it's just like, that's dangerous too, And so those are the ways in which these institutions are policing what is quality.
Yes.
What is beautiful. And so like, I feel like the worlds that we're trying to describe, we're not talking about fucking police. Like nobody said, oh, in the world that I wake up in the morning, like there's people that are trying to kill us, saying like,
exactly,
that are trying to imprison us. Like that's not part of our dream or our vision. Like nobody said that. Like,
nope. And we never will.
When thinking about what Lucy, yeah, I don't have access. So if someone can bring that wonderful Facebook conversation in here, because in the future that I envision, there are no police, and where do we fit in here? So I've got Tree Sage sitting here next to me, who's painting on some that he found up at Heaven, because yeah, say hello.
What's up?
Hey.
How you doing?
Yeah. So creative journey is happening here in all the ways, but he went to Heaven and put up that big, beautiful George Floyd mural as that pig wearing a police officer's uniform, and it says a whole lot. So getting back to this need for artists and this need for people to express, like that mural creates so much more, and so many places to go thinking and contemplating and imagining of what comes from that without the words being spoken. And there's what is it in Harvard? Because it's we know that we're this beautiful artistic community that's got generation upon generation upon generation of these amazing artists doing all this wonderful stuff. But the powers that be continue to come in and try to give us sports and other things. So where's the disconnect? Where do folks here? And I know I'm not the only one who's had these thoughts, but where is that disconnect?
Sorry, I was distracted reading the chat.
I say, if y'all got day jobs that make it hard to answer that question.
No, I was trying to
No.
He was gonna respond, but
I don't know. I have something to say.
oh, David.
Okay, if I bring Tree in for a second? All right, Jasmine.
Of course, what?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh no, I was just gonna say like I don't know if it's funny. I ended up taking like the drawing class at Capital, drawing and painting, and that's kind of like what got me more confident in getting my art out there. But I took it with Pedro Valentin. You feel me? He's a real good teacher. I've seen him at other art shows outside of school and stuff. But he even had us write a paper one time. You feel me? Where it's like they were asking like, why should art and everything like that still be a part of like the school curriculum and stuff like that, and the importance of it. And I feel like that's something that's not really explored, especially when it comes to like people as far as like they just expression and being able to be heard and be seen, you feel me, in just whatever way, shape or form, you feel me, that might take. And it's just like there's always that like, I guess that Western culture thing about like consume and materials and stuff like that, to where it's like you kind of put that focus on, hey, you got to have something that's gonna get money coming in right away. You feel me? It's like art is kind of like a more, I don't know, I feel like more just passion, maybe more long term. Like it takes longer to kind of get that return on investment. You feel me? I would say, to use business terms, since we're talking about like, you feel me, consumerism and that kind of mode of thinking. And I feel like really just like with that mural, you feel me? People go there and just sit there and look at it and stuff like that. And it's like, I feel like that gives them that time to really reflect on themselves and like the times that we're in, and kind of give voice to people who wouldn't even, if they had a platform to talk, wouldn't even be able to find like the right words and stuff like that. You feel me? So it's like, I feel like it kind of goes beyond the everyday kind of rat race or dog eat dog world that we all kind of have been conditioned to accept, and a lot of us have accepted as like normal. So that's just my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think it relates to like value, how we value ourselves, how we value things. I remember I did a documentary on the ballroom scene. This was 4 or 5 years ago, and I was rewatching it recently. And one of the questions I asked was, do they think we need basically a white system, a white face of, you know, whatever it is that you're doing. In that context, I was talking about movies. So do we need a white director to get anywhere, like to be successful? And I got varying answers, which was interesting. Yeah.
And what did you say?
I was just making the movie. I didn't say anything.
Okay.
No, I think it goes back to value. I don't think we need them. I think the problem is so many people think that we need them. So we rely on that. We say, well, I need to find a white person to work with, otherwise it's not gonna get anywhere. It's like we're creating that. We're creating, nothing inherently has any value. We're creating that value. So we need to be better about what we think of in terms of value when we think of ourselves, when we think of our community, when we think of people like us, you know?
Mhm.
And that is why we need the artists to create it so that we can imagine it and start to see it. Like I think about the art goes up at Heaven, and you end up in this beautiful free outdoor art gallery that's not valued as a beautiful outdoor art gallery. I mean, last year, weren't there some folks who were talking about it as an eyesore? Wasn't that one of those downtown conversations that Heaven somehow needs
Wow.
to buy?
That's crazy to me. But it always had art like that little piece like up top anyway. Like, what? Well, I'm happy it's there, and it should definitely stay.
And Hartford has, like, again, like I love all the art there, but I wish that everyone who is putting the art up, and I'm not a capitalist at all. These are not capitalist sayings. These are very much a person who wants to see equity happen and just wants to see the right thing happen. And I wish that everyone who gave something there at Heaven was in some way compensated for it.
Right.
You know, one of the things as she was speaking, it's that place of, I know a whole lot of people who would love to go to jail. Welcome. I know a whole lot of people who would like to go to college. Let's just take a second to see this conversation that we're having and that slip that just happened, right? I'm sorry, I apologize, but sit in that one for a second. But I know there's a whole lot of folks who would love to go to college to major in the arts, to major and to get that MFA.
Yeah.
And I've been the person on the other side of the desk talking to that young, beautiful Black person saying, no, you're gonna major in communications, no, you're gonna major in education, you're going to, I know that there's this amazing photography school that you want to go to that's a for-profit school. And if you went there, you would be hanging out with beautiful people making great art, but you're gonna be homeless by Christmas if that happens. And places where we're making decisions that are the wrong decisions, and decisions that shouldn't be privileged decisions end up having this whole layer of privilege and access kind of written in. So how do we create free art classes?
The libraries need you know, it should be in school already. Like, you know, we should know English, Spanish, multiple languages. We should be learning all sorts of art forms. We should like our entire thing should be free. That should be a human thing that we do and we encourage and we develop. We should know how to build our own cooperative businesses. We should be learning all of these things. How do we build generational wealth? What, you know, like I just started sorry, my head is going into this other direction about like, because I recently been talking to people about like susus and like, you know, like groups of people.
I love they're saving money. Yes.
And
Can you talk a little bit about Susu's and again, this place where when we're looking for the white folks with the money, other folks have figured out how to do this. So how does a Susu work? What is a Susu?
yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, like, I feel like in a sense, like what we're seeing with like mutual aid support is like, you know, anybody who can offer $500 to $500 to $1,000, however much money you can offer. So in mutual aid, it's like, okay, you know, you're offering something. In this case, you might not be getting back something. Like a lot of these monies are going to, you know, groceries and support for families that can't access food right now during the COVID period, for example. People who are immunocompromised and all these things. And another, you know, can't pay rent, you know, we're trying to cancel rent, like all these other things, right? But in a Susu, it's more so like, okay, you've got a group of people, their family, friends, whoever, and everyone puts in their amount of money in a pot. And then like everybody at some point will get the pot. You know, and it's like a way, and sometimes people just are like, well, no, I don't even need this. Like I can redistribute this. I can put towards this pot and it can help somebody else who might not have as much access to income or resources as I do. So there's also like a redistribution opportunity there. I've seen something more recently called the Friends and Family Program, which is a little bit more intense, but basically you can actually put in a certain amount and get 8 times that amount in a month. But there's like, it's a little bit more complicated of a cycling in how they do it. But I don't know. I feel like things like that are the ways that people have in the past, like started businesses or put, you know, money towards property together or equipment that they need or what, you know, whatever it might be. So David is pushing us because I know he wants to he's like, let's take 2 questions. So I'm gonna.
Yeah. So bring the questions on in, David. What are these questions? Yeah. Oh yeah, we will be done by.
Good. If we go a little, you know. No, I just wanted, you know, to tell you guys.
So David, you wanted to bring folks in for questions? How's this gonna work?
I think that's more of a thought though. Right?
So we'll share Lucy's thought.
Yeah, it's a profound thought.
The idea that human expression is questioned by the educational system and higher ed is a heartbreaking thing, but it's not spirit breaking. The fight is here. Feel that.
I love that.
It's not spirit breaking and the fight is here.
It's not.
One? Yeah.
Just not being in control, you know? For real. Thank you, Lucy.
Someone said, Jen said, the obsession with money as the only way of valuing. Y'all have expressed so many additional ways art and community produce, offer, and consume that has nothing to do with money. The beauty and emotion of that isn't recognized.
Art is important.
No, there's the idea that there's this high art market where pieces of art command dollar amounts that don't make any kind of sense. And then like when you start learning about that, really what that is that's about upholding a certain status quo. And there's a certain status of human being on this earth who's supposed to own a certain status of art. So therefore these inflated, like the whole art world, the whole art price game is disgusting. But with that existing, one of the ugly trickle downs is that is the art that's valued, and then art that's produced, consumable art that's produced on a daily basis, local art for lack of a better word, but art that's not deemed incredibly worthy ends up just being seen as flotsam and jetsam, and the importance of it isn't. So I want to ask folks, what are some of the important pieces of art or installations, plays, songs, but what are some important pieces that have been influential to you? Like we're Hartford, so did you go visit the Wadsworth as a kid and have like a thing that you sat in front? But
Gotta sit with that.
So one of I gotta shout I gotta shout some people out. One of the most amazing businesses that I've seen thrive and build is Studio 860. Jolette and all of the youth that were babies that are adults, and the incredible productions, artistry, I mean, the competitions that they've traveled to, I mean, that and like that they have space, you know, like that's something that it's like she just never stopped. And she built with her partners and her people and stuff. And that's something that's like that was a collective effort, but that was a whole lot of also Jolette being Jolette. And I think a lot of times, right, like there's this thing where it's like you need sometimes these leaders to build this thing and to keep the energy going. And and I love that she's developed so many people along the way. And it's also like, yo, Jolette, like, let's all like link, let's learn from each other, let's build with each other. Because that is like, to me, okay, sorry. The question was what inspired me. There was a production that they did not too far from when COVID hit that literally was mind blowing. The projections that they had, the lighting that they had, the different crews and storytelling that they were doing with costume change and like movement and like crews and solo work, like Kimora, like that shit was fucking cool. And I saw all these different people take different roles to make that production happen that had been, you know, this has been their family for so long. And like, to me, that is some Hartford ass shit that is just like,
yeah, no, you hit it. Jolette Creary is like they're at, so when I was at True Colors, they were at 30 Arbor Street and they lost that space, right? And so we're in the space, we're talking about, oh, this is too bad. Like, and I was like, no, it's Jolette, she's cool. She's cool. And she's one of those people who you reach out to us and like, tell me what you need. I got you. Because, you know, like she's got it there. She's going to do it. And it's going to, they did Farmington Avenue for a minute, didn't work. Out there in Bloomfield working, but like, and again, developing people like that. And that is one of those beautiful Hartford things. So when I was asking about, is there an art or a piece of art or an artist or a thing that you connect with? Years ago, Andres Chaparro, who is an amazing artist from Hartford, who when we did have a full-time real salaried position, I don't what, he was the art guru. That's not what the official title was, but he was the Hartford art man. And that's always been a very important position in the city of Hartford. But they got rid of that position. And he and I were talking about the importance of art for youth in Hartford and that whole thing, like we're going to thrive regardless of what. He was telling me about his relationship with that big Salvador Dali painting in the Wadsworth in Avery Court. And just his relationship of being this little Puerto Rican kid from Hartford. So he'd go in there and the docents wouldn't bother him. They just leave him alone. So he was allowed to be there and stand in front of that painting all day, every day, and create that relationship with it. So sometimes forgotten does have its advantages. And in the city was so much amazing art. Develop those.
I would say the Artist Collective. Definitely real big for me growing up. Like I went to Martin Luther King, so that was right there. You know, just being exposed to African drumming, African language. Yeah.
Was there a visual arts program when you were there?
Not that I know of, or that not that I was a part of. Ironically, I was more of just the drumming. Yeah, I was drumming with them and call and response. Yeah.
Jasmine, you got a photo? Or, yeah, you know,
I,
you
I
can
don't have anything in particular. My brother was the one who really showed me a lot of stuff and got me into a lot of stuff. So, and I mean, we lived in Hartford, so I'm sure he was inspired by things here.
Is he an artist himself?
No, no, but he works with the ballroom scene, so he has a house and he does a lot. So he's involved in art related things.
So that's some artistry.
That's the artist.
Yeah,
Some
Right.
artistry.
there you go.
And do you want to talk a little bit? Tell us a little bit about what ballroom is for folks who don't know. I just realized, like at the opening, I talked about all these amazing ballroom photos that you've got. People know what protests are, but people don't know what ballrooms are. What are ballrooms?
Ballroom, well, balls are, well, they were created as a space mostly for Black and Latino people to come together because, you know, they're excluded from every other space. So that was like their space to get together and perform. And it's just been going on since. I'm a bad speaker, but that's like the gist of it. And so they go, they walk, they have different categories where they can win money. So they have like a face category, they have a fashion category. They walk through, win prizes. It's just like a nice place to celebrate each other, which is what I get from it. Just a lot of love and like celebration and appreciation for each other.
And so David and David shared that he saw similarities in your protest photos with your ballroom photos. So what were you capturing? What were you getting at the protests? Like, what were you looking for?
That's a hard thing to say because it's so instinctual. I think maybe I look for emotion, or like what gets to me emotionally. I don't know if I can, like, I don't have a process. I just kind of shoot, and I shoot whatever I'm most drawn to in all aspects of my photography.
So yeah, so maybe instead of what were you drawn to? What did you discover? What did you, when you got home and looked at what you did, what did you find? What did you capture in those photos?
I think a lot of emotion, a lot of like, I mean, you can just sense the energy, I think, from looking at the photos of how people felt and what was going through their heads, or at least what you think was going through their heads at the time.
I'm feeling a shift and a change, and I'm feeling as if folks are really feeling as if there's change happening now. You know, I'm trying so hard not to quote Sam Cooke, but here we go. You know, we all know a change is going to come. And I'm seeing it in the ways that folks are freeing themselves. And I'm seeing how the fear of COVID that blanketed all of us in March, I'm not going to say that's completely gone, but I think that we're all that much stronger for it because we've gotten through it and we figured out how to weave through, and just the important places of figuring out how to continue to care for self and carry each other. And this renewed, we all know that we need to care for each other. Like, one of the things that we get here in Hartford is we're very communal. We get this. All of the solutions always. Has anyone tried to share a solution this evening that didn't include communal work together? Right? So we're all building towards this, and we're seeing what these possibilities are and creating those wonderful ways. I want to thank everyone tonight. Like, thank you for showing up, but yeah, that's cute. Thank you for being, and thank you for being the who you are in our community. So right now there's this big part of me that's just, I'm filled with the we and the how we come together and do what we do. And I'm filled with the we. And I'm in awe of my community and what folks are doing. And I just want to thank you all very, very deeply and offer everyone right now a chance to just share, where is your gratitude? Because mine is just my outpour. Like I've found it's us, it's we, and it's just my we. But what are we finding a place to be grateful for? What are we grateful for right now?
The universe, honestly, and my people, and just intuition, alignment. Yeah.
Jasmine, what are you grateful for?
I love you.
It's like with Jasmine.
Jasmine, tell me what you're grateful for. I want to hear it.
I'm grateful for I'm grateful for so much right now. I'm grateful for I'm grateful for opportunities to find grounding in so much of the muck of things. I'm grateful to be able to have such an incredible lineage that I feel like I'm just at the tip of the iceberg of connecting with. And I'm grateful for the universe for supporting me and my people to be surrounded by each other, and for us to have the opportunity to open our eyes to see each other and to feel each other and to figure out how we're going to create the dreams that we've always been dreaming of in this like pivotal moment in history. And I'm saying a lot of shit, but I'm grateful for like my spice rack and like the food that I'll be eating in a little bit. And like, I'm grateful for the air and the trees and the river and thank you guys.
Yes, definitely. And Jasmine, I'm like, as we're doing this, I'm just thinking like, next time we do this, I'm gonna make sure you've got a green screen, and then because I know that if you've been able to share photos, we would have seen all the stuff that you don't say. And that's that incredible, wonderful space of, we don't all have to have a voice. Like right now, as we're all figuring out what we do, this is my voice. This is what I do. Like if I were to sing, it would be really awful. I feel really good. I made this protest sign. So I went to one of Lucy's one of her graffiti art classes over at Heaven. And so I made my really nice graffiti lettered sign. I feel really good. But I was only able to do it because Lucy was sitting next to me and kind of guiding me through it and giving me the most amazing.
Linda Luce?
Linda Luce, yeah. I'm sorry, yeah, Linda Luce was there. And it was awesome and a lot of fun, but I can't do any of that. But there's a million other ways to share voice. Like there's I always talk about Aryan, and I've enjoyed watching Aryan dance since puberty. And now there's this amazing man creating this amazing work of art. Like he's down in Philadelphia now doing great stuff. And he's still a Hartford person. He's not just he's a Hartford Libra, which when we think about us as artists, it's a very, very, very special place. I can tell you that Libras, artistic Libras in Hartford go back generations. Maurice is a Libra. And if there are Hartford folks in here, you know Maurice Robinson, you've definitely seen his photos around. He's one of us. He used to do the original Libra party. Jasmine,
I didn't know he was a Libra.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, there was one night when I saw Maurice. There was one night in Harvard. I saw Maurice from an art night at the library for like till 3 more parties. Like I saw him till like 2 a.m.
Yes.
Like
yes. Killing, yo, I love it.
And he danced the whole time. Did he ever was he dancing?
The entire time.
Yep. He gets you dancing. Like, wait, hold on. Hold on.
The best is like you'll be at one of those events and Maurice will be like, yeah, so it's good to see you here. So when I leave here, I'm going to this and this is happening and tomorrow that's happening. And it's like,
Yep.
Really? Okay. Yeah. It'll be some fun stuff like, yeah, sunrise down the street right now.
There's so many legends and like from elders to the young people right now. I mean, there's just like legends amongst us right now.
Oh yeah, there's who is little girl at Studio 860. So there's a little Puerto Rican girl there. I think she's maybe like 9 now, but we've been watching her since she was 4, and she is real and fierce, and it's just like, you know, I mean,
I don't know her like that, but yeah.
I don't know.
but we've got that, and again, speaking of that community place, we as a community, like the larger institutions might not be supporting us, but we support us and we see each other. And there's those Arts Collective kids, those are great. There's the Hartford Drum Drill and Proud kids, those are great. And there's just all of these different pockets of kids who are in these different programs and then get together and create amazing things. And then also in this community, we were talking about arts classes and how we get free arts classes. We also have a whole bunch of folks who never make it to those programs. And then art still happens. So what is that? What's that journey? As we're talking about this creative journey, what does the journey look like with support, and what does it look like without support?
I mean, I always say better together,
Yeah, it's easier.
You can only thrive when, like, what they say, like, more hands make a light work. I forget the saying, but yeah.
I think that people, I like, there are people that are going to make from whatever they find, right? That is our lineage, is making from whatever you have. And like we were saying, there's like the people that might be recognized and paid more and whatever because of the degrees. Like, I know that there's a lot that I'm able to access because of my lighter skin, because of the education of my parents, the education that I've gone through, the way that I'm able to code switch and communicate with so many different people because of all those things and being seen certain ways. And yet and still, those spaces are, they deplete parts of my soul. They try and attack my soul. And that's not how I thrive or live or want to live in the spaces that deem me only there to be the Puerto Rican person that we can say is on at the table. Like, it's just not a space for nourishment. And so I don't know. I think but it still comes down to it. It's like peeling to be able to create. It's like, I'm still going to figure this shit out to get free. And doesn't matter what like position you give me and salary you give me, it's still you giving it to me. And that's not freedom to me. I went into another tangent.
No, but it's not it's figuring out how to get into that box. So there was just recently, there's a professor who was from the African American music department at Berklee College of Music up in Boston, and he just retired. And they of course let him retire, and then they brought up 13 years of complaints. And this man just created a classroom that was incredibly racially hostile. Like he used, because he was teaching jazz and African American music, he kind of this gave him a pass to just talk about Black folks and Black music and just in ways that were just awful and across the board racist. And there's 13 years against this man. But again, you've got like Rappaport.
That's what it sounds like, Michael Rappaport.
But you've got this person who we've made it into the academy, and therefore we're getting this education, which supposedly is going to create a place where our art is going to be even better. But while we're learning it, we're learning that we either have to acquiesce and play the game, or we're not going to be successful. And so when we look at Hartford, we're this hard scrapple city, and there's a whole lot of folks who are from outside who will give us that powers that be. Oh, it's so sad that you don't have access to this, you don't have access to that, you don't have access to this. they don't realize that through community, we've got access because our community holds these beautiful human beings, and it keeps Jasmine, as what you're talking about there, is that place where you don't have that mental constraint and that mental slavery on your creativity. And I think that that's often missed. The art classes are amazing. Sitting with Linda Luce and learning how to draw letters and stuff is amazing. But then getting your hands on some markers, because you got some markers, and getting your hand on a cardboard box, you got a cardboard box, and figuring out what you can get on that is at least equally amazing.
I'll say something on that too. Yeah, because it was interesting with me because for the longest, I don't know, since I was younger, I always like did art and stuff like that. But I always kind of did it for myself. I kind of got into it. Like my first pair of Jordans I ever got, I ended up wore them until I couldn't wear them no more. And then it was just like I wasn't gonna get another pair, so I drew on them. And then it was a brand new pair of sneakers and stuff like that. And it was like everybody, oh man, I went and did some jeans. Oh man, them jeans. And then it was like, it was kind of always like a thing for me. So it's like, it was interesting because it's like without the support, I wasn't as visible, but then I also got the chance to like really hone my own I guess like eye and like how I perceive stuff. And I feel like that's kind of like what Jasmine Jones was talking about with like her pictures, where it's like you kind of like follow your intuition, and it's like as you go through that process, you like refine it, and you kind of, I feel like, hone in on what you're really looking for and stuff like that. And it's like I do the same thing with my art, and I feel like by having that time kind of like almost to myself, you feel me, to where it wasn't like I feel like it took away that I'm gonna make this for people, because I feel like a lot of time when people get caught up like trying to please the masses and stuff like that, they lose, like how Jasmine, the other Jasmine was saying, like their own flavor and stuff like that, trying to be more widely consumable. And I feel like really my time where I wasn't really being seen and I was just doing it for me, that really helped me like lock into like my lane and like what really does it for me. You feel me? And I feel like that's like what both Jasmines were touching on and stuff like that. Even though at some point I feel like you should be able to go out and get that support when you're ready to kind of like bring it out to a wider audience and stuff. So that's good. And then have more resources and stuff like that. Because even with that mural, I work under the table. I don't really have like a big job. I kind of keep myself going because I'm a veteran. So I still get like disability and stuff like that every month. But with the COVID thing and not really having as much work, and then really Kimora and stuff like that, helping me out with paints and stuff like that, that's what really helped me get that mural and stuff like done. And that's really what kind of is getting me a lot of visibility now. So I feel like having that place to know how to get, because I honestly, even out with rents and stuff, sell myself. Like I kind of like do my own thing. So then it's like to get to like other people, I kind of need someone to help with that transition. And that's where that support really comes in and makes a difference.
Right.
And you gotta leave, right? You gotta be out.
Yeah, yo. Gotta peace. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Take care. Go spend good
Bye.
family time.
Too.
Peace.
Man, I gotta go put out some fires, honestly. Love y'all.
Sounds good.
Peace, and I know we're probably gonna be closing out soon too. To his point, it's like, and Kimora, I think what you're saying too, and I think what we've all been saying is like, you know, that support can actually come from us.
Yeah.
Like that growth, that development, that giving, that wealth, that wellness is actually what we can provide to each other. And, you know, there might be white folks that want to put in dough and, you know, redistribute stuff from their institutions, but we still got to find a way where it's like, we don't have to operate in competition with each other, but we're actually developing our own creative economy, solidarity economy, you know, our own thing, our own thriving vision.
Yeah, that's why I think that the answers that I got to that question were interesting, because for the people anyway saying that we need them, it's kind of like, I think that's what keeps us from doing that, working with each other and uplifting each other and getting from each other rather than getting from you know, the white people in power. And that's why we're so competitive sometimes, or like, you know, not.
And just the belief that dollars are necessary. And there's that so much a part of that whole fear mindset that if you don't have enough dollars, things aren't going to happen. But just understanding, you know, there's always going to be some folks with day jobs. And so those people are going to have dollars. And if we can figure out how to get those dollars to artists, and then artists are taken care of, so they're not charging people a ridiculous amount of money to consume and experience and be a part of what they're doing, then families can come out to programs like La Sala Femme, and they're not spending money to go there, because and just like this beautiful cyclical way of caring for each other and caring for self. So like knowing that the Panther breakfast program, like we all know that they started it, but we also need to remember that they got their hands on capital and gave money to women in the community who then made breakfast for children and gave it. So not only was sustenance being shared, but this sense of community and this sense of pride and just everything that goes along with us being able to figure out how to do us. And that's incredibly important. As we go forward, there are certain things that we need to look at the past to see what went well and what didn't go well, and really to ground us so that we can be open to creating something expansive that has never been seen before. That I love the expression, you know, I'm my ancestors' wildest dreams. And that lets me know that my wildest dreams, somewhere there's like some great grandbabies who are going to create stuff that I can't even begin to fathom. And Jasmine, yeah, you said you tapped into that great grandmother. What does she think about you these days?
Woo. I'm trying to tap into my curandera stuff, my healing power stuff, and like starting to just explore that a little bit and trying not to be afraid of the journey of exploration in that. So knowing that I don't know a lot, and that it's like, oh, like, so there are like groups and there's other people that, you know, have studied like crystals more, studied what herbs to grow, how to grow them, what to use them for medicinally. And, you know, all these other things, tapping into communication with your, with and honoring, you know, the spirit guides around you and all these things. And that's something that I've like always felt connected to, but not fully understood what all these things were. And so now I'm just like, that's cool. You know, you can learn from other people. You can feel your like intuition and gut and let that guide you in your exploration process. Like, I feel like I'm like like I'm still in this continual baby growing thing of like that creative journey is like just trying things too. And so, yeah, so like I recently got an aloe plant and I'm like scraping aloe. I don't know. I'm starting to like, for the last La Sala Femme, I had an amethyst on the top of my head because that's what I was like drawn to and guided to do. So I actually had this amethyst on the top of my like crown chakra for the entirety of the virtual La Sala Femme. And it was like a whole vibe. And so, yeah, like I'm just, anyway, that's kind of part of that journey for me.
So it is a journey. You're not done. You haven't figured out what you need to do, and you're not.
Yo, y'all, we've been here for a minute.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say good night, beautiful people. We'll figure out how to do this again at a later date in a different way. And I look forward to seeing all of you in real life, and I look forward to seeing all the great virtual things that you're doing. And good night. And David, thank you for providing this place. David did a wonderful job of kind of hiding himself because I did. You see that, right? You see how that happens?
Just pop up.
So Mother Mocha, welcome, Mother Mocha.
Yes, thank you. Oh my gosh. So it's mahogany, but
Get it
Mocha,
right.
Mocha is here. Mocha's right here. And it's unique how you brought that up because Mocha is with me. Mocha was my best friend that went to the Great Art Academy of Performing Arts, who died at 20 years old. But that's another story. But I want to thank definitely the Free Center, Zoe and Rich and Collab team, definitely. Please stay tuned to a lot of what Pride Community Arts is doing. We have a fall series that's coming up. Last year, I know a lot of people took part in the art exhibit in the art series, but this year we're incorporating the culinary arts. We're incorporating textiles and fibers. So what that means is you get to watch people eat, enjoy their food, cook their food. You get to see the fashion designers bringing their textiles and different printmakers bringing different types of quilts and all types of different good things that's going to happen this fall. But the thing that I'm excited about is this year Pride Community Arts is going to team up with some collaborators and host the Sankofa Mini Ball. And all this is planned to take place in October, which is Pride History Month or Gay History Month. Is it Gay History Month or Pride History Month?
Gay History Month, yeah. Queer History Month now, but yeah.
Yeah. So those are some of the things that we're looking forward to doing in the 2020 year. I want to say peace to everybody, blessings, and thank you for joining us. Creative Journey. Shut my mic off.
Thank y'all so much. And thank you guys for everybody who's stayed throughout the whole time to watch, and people who, came at different times and watched. It's really dope. It's always funny having these like intimate conversations, but then it's like the world can see them.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. This is cool. It's interesting.
So I'm reminding David, you're the host. You're the one who's got to close us out.
Jump back on my camera. I'm gonna say peace, God bless, and good night, everyone. Take care.
Peace.